Hey guys, this is Mr. Decker, and this is Unit 3, Lesson 13, a mini project on animation. So by the end of this mini project, you should have your own original animation, and I stress that original animation. I am just going through this project with you so that you have an idea of what I'm expecting out of you, and also to teach you how to use a sprite background, because that's a part of this project. If you want to use it. So you've never done that before, and it's a really neat way to make a background. There are lots of options to choose from, so I want to teach you how to do that. The computer science standards for this lesson are creating clearly named variables that represent different data types and perform operations on their values, decomposing problems and subproblems into parts to facilitate the design, implementation, and review of programs, systematically test and refine programs using a range of test cases, and documenting programs in order to make them easier to follow, test, and debug. The essential question for this lesson is, how can we combine different programming patterns to make a complete animation? Well, we've gone over how to make our sprites move already. This is putting it into an actual original project. This entire lesson is on code.org. Make sure you are signed in on code.org with your school Google account. Your grade for this lesson will be based on your programming in the lesson on code.org. Watching this video is mandatory, so keep on watching it and work your way through the lesson on code.org. There's no need to submit anything on this assignment page. Please don't type in the type box that you are finished with the project or finished with the assignment or whatever. I can see it on code.org. Everything's there. I'm in there through my teacher portal. When I'm teaching you, I'm in my teacher portal. Don't worry about typing anything there. It's all good. The rubric for this assignment. This is key. This video is going to be down here, but the rubric here, big, bold, red, underlined. That means it's important. All right. Your animation project must have, at minimum, a background scene using at least 3 ellipses and or rectangles if you want to do it that way. Or your background can also be a sprite background, and there's going to be more on that in this instructional video. You need to have at least 2 animated sprites. You need to have at least 1 text, and you need to make use of the counter pattern to make your sprites move. You can reference previous lesson videos for help, or just, you may already have it figured out, or you might get the assistance that you need by watching this video. Again, like with any YouTube video, if you need to skip around to different parts of it for help, you always can do that. As long as you're understanding what you're doing. So when you go back to reference prior videos, for instance, you might want to go back to the sprite movement lesson, for instance, to help you out with this project. You can always bounce around in that video to the different parts of it, to the different bubbles that I'm completing in there, to give you ideas and to help you remember as a review how to make your sprites move using the counter pattern. So anyway, let's jump over to code.org. So you should already be logged in unless you've logged yourself out for whatever reason, but go ahead and log yourself in using the red Google login with Google button. And then, your layout is a little different from mine because you're a student and I'm a teacher. So you guys are typically having to scroll all the way down to the bottom to see your sections, but mine are up here. You guys are in 7th grade. We're in CSD Unit 3, Interactive Animations and Games. So let's click there. All right, so let's scroll down. We've done all these lessons. We've done all this stuff. We've done well. So if you need to reference how to get sprites up there, you can do that. If you need to reference sprite properties, you can do that. And these videos are in Canvas. They're still available to you. Lesson 9 on getting your text up there, if you need to reference that. Lesson 10 on your captioned scenes, if you want to reference your own work there. And then you can go into the draw loop because we will be using that. And then sprite movement here So lesson 12 might be where you want to go back to look at how to get your sprites to move, because there's a lot on the draw loop there as well. A lot in the skill building practice and challenges that you might want to take a look at again in order to help you with your mini project. So let's go to bubble 1. Bubble 1, our question of the day, or essential question, is how can we combine different programming patterns to make a complete animation? Remember that we use the counter pattern to create our animations and make our sprites move. We can make them wiggle, we can make them move up, we can make them move down. Remember, we can make them move at a diagonal, we can make them move left or right. We can do all kinds of stuff to animate our sprites. And remembering that the draw loop and the counter pattern work synchronously in making our sprites do what we want them to do in terms of movement. Sorry about that little interruption. I know it was very brief for you, whatever. You just see me hit the pause button and then I'm right back, right? So no big deal. But one of our tech support gurus was getting help for me in finding some equipment in the Smart Lab. So we're going to review some types of movement and animation, and then you'll have an opportunity to brainstorm what kind of scenes you might want to make, plan things out, or if you're like me and you just do things organically, like you come up with things on the fly, you're creative, you have a good idea of what you're doing, you can always just do that organically. You don't necessarily have to have a sketched out game plan or outline of what you want to do. I know different people work in different creative ways. I am one of those people that just kind of rolls with whatever pops up in my head at the time. So, but in that, while others of us, like my wife, for instance, she likes to work using outlines and planning things out. So if you work that way, you can always pull up this activity guide. It gives you the opportunity to, plan things out. It kind of guides you through the process, the creative process for planning that out and sketching things out. So if you want to use that, you most certainly can. If you don't want to use it, I totally get it. You don't have to. You can move on and work your way through it. So animated scenes, bubble 2. It's time to try out an animated scene. Take a look at this example and think about what you'd like to make. An animated example, right? So what movements do you see in this scene? Let's run it. Well, this sprite is wiggling around. Remember, we learned how to do that. This sprite is going up Y or down Y, right? Watch, turn the grid on so you can maybe visualize it a little better. 400 Ys down here, 0 Ys up here. So if you want a sprite to move up, you're going to see that Y number go down. So you're subtracting using the counter pattern there. And then, you're using that random like -5, +5 here. What kind of music do planets sing? So not only is this moving, but the text is moving as well. That's interesting. So the joke here is, what kind of music do planets sing? Neptune's. Hardy, har, har, har. All right. Which movements use random numbers? Well, this is using a random number. This is using a random number. And then which movement is using the counter pattern? Well, this guy. So this text and this guy are both using the counter pattern. So let's finish. Continue. On to bubble 3. Planning your scene. Before moving on, take a second to plan out the scene that you'd like to make. You can sketch it out on a piece of paper. You can sketch it out using Google Draw, whatever you would like. You don't have to turn in anything regarding your sketches or outlines or planning or anything like that. You don't have to turn that in. It's just an option for you if that's the way you work and that's the way you use the creative process. Consider the simple shapes that you've used in the past, sprites for your characters, and any text that you'd like on the screen. Plan out the movement. What movements do you want in your scene? Which will use random numbers? Which are going to use the counter pattern? And will you need variables to store information about where something is located? Learning more, is there anything else that you'd still need to learn how to do? Are there any skills that you'd like to review? Where can you find the information you need? We went over all of that stuff kind of at the beginning of the video. And here's the same animation again. So again, plan it out, don't plan it out, do it organically, whatever. Just make sure you are getting it done. Okay, bubble 4. This icon means this level is part of a larger project. Changes will be saved across these levels. So from bubble 4 to bubble 8, you're going to be working on the same project across these levels. So make sure that's something you understand. Create your scene background first. Make a background of your scene either with shape commands or sprites. Do this. Use a background command to fill the screen with a color. Add any necessary shape commands or sprites to draw the background of your scene. So I'm going to do this second bullet point. I'm going to make a background sprite. So I need to go to my animation tab, click new animation, and I'm going to go to backgrounds right here to find a background that I want to use. And here are my options: cave, court, desert, grid, rainbow, Santa, sci-fi, space, yada, 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 down through here. So you have these options. You can also import an image, right? That process, upload image, but you need to have something saved in pictures on your Chromebook or in your downloads on your Chromebook, or if you're using a PC, it would look like my screen right now. But anyway, you can always search the web. So let's say I wanted like a sci-fi background, right? And here are a bunch of options. Well, I need to go to images. And the trick is to find a background you want to use, right? This one's really cool. Finding a background that you want to use that works. So, right, if I save this, I'll name it sci-fi background. And we'll throw this into my pictures folder, save it. And then let's see if it's small enough or if it's too big. Whoops, went to the wrong tab. To actually use it. So sci-fi background, open. See, please make sure the image you're trying to upload is smaller than 100 kilobytes. This is a challenge with GameLab. If the background you want to use is larger than 100 kilobytes, it's not going to be an option. It is not going to be an option. And that's not my fault. That's not something I can fix for you. That is just a limitation that you will have to work with. So while there are lots of cool options here, you might find that you are very limited because it has to be less than 100 kilobytes. And 100 kilobytes as a file is very small. But the reason that code.org does that is because, one second. And the reason code.org does it that way is because they save everything to their servers. Your animations, your projects, your games are not getting saved to your computer or your Chromebook. It's being saved on code.org's servers. And their servers are handling literally millions of kids using their website, building games, building animations every single day. So, to save space on their servers, they're limiting your options there. You don't like it. I don't like it. There's a reason for it. That's all I'm saying. All right. So I'm going to go to new animation. I'm going to go to backgrounds, and I'm just going to pick this sci-fi background. I'm going to rename it over here to just be sci-fi, like that, to simplify things. So I'm going to go back to my code, X that. I'm going to go to my sprites drawer, var sprite, gets create sprite. I'm going to rename this as sci-fi, let's say sci-fi background. And then I need my set animation. I have to match the variable. and select the animation I want it to use. And if I click run right now, nothing happens. And that's because I need to go to the world drawer and draw the sprite. Run it. Now it appears. So now the next thing I want to do, I think, is I'm going to add a little sun right here because obviously this planet is getting light. It has an atmosphere. It has clouds. So let's go for it here. Things are working on this planet, but let's have this planet make a little bit more sense by throwing a planet in here. Or a sun, I mean. It is a planet, after all. So ellipse. And let's see. I need my ellipse to be on top of my sprite background. Otherwise, it won't show up. So I am going to put it at X. And ellipses, it's always the center. X 137, Y 64. So 137, Y 64. And then I want it to be size like 50. Reset run. Yeah, and I don't want that line around it. So let's use no stroke, reset run. That looks a lot better because nothing here has lines around it. And then I want to change the color of it. So we need to use fill color. And let's see what yellow looks like. That's a little too bright. So let's go to HTML color names. This looks like a particularly hot planet to me. At least that's the impression I'm getting. So I might choose like a kind of a blue sun, burning blue. Aquamarine might be an interesting color. Let's try that. See what that looks like. I want to type here. I want to type here. Let me type. Let me type. I want to type here. Annoying. Okay. Let's see. Oh, that's kind of cool, but it's a little bit too close to that color. Let's find something else. Dark turquoise. Turquoise. It's kind of hard to remember how to spell that. So let's jump in here. Dark turquoise. Dark turquoise. Again, maybe a little bit too close. So maybe I'm spending a lot of time picking a color. You guys get it. It's the creative process, man. Medium turquoise. I might have to be a little bit basic with this and go with orange. There's goldenrod again. Good old goldenrod. Actually, let's see what that looks like. I might actually end up liking what that looks like because it'll stand in contrast to what's going on there. Yes. Okay. Goldenrod strikes again. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave HTML color names up here because I might end up using that again. Okay, so here's my background. I'm happy with that. So far I've got one sprite and one shape going on here. I'm pretty happy with this so far. Is there anything else I could add? I feel like I'm good. I'm good. Maybe let's see what that looks like if I make it larger than just 50. Yeah, actually, I think I might want to make that a little bit smaller because it looks like that cloud is behind it, and that would never actually happen. The cloud is in the atmosphere, the sun is not, so let's go with something else. 60. And we're back. Okay, everyone needs equipment from the Smart Lab today, apparently. So let's see what 6060 looks like. I want to move it a little bit, ever so slightly to the right. It's 137x. Let's make it 142. See where that puts it. Yeah, that works. Ever so slightly to the right. Okay. I just needed to move it 5 pixels, guys. All right, finish. Bubble 5. Moving right along. Okay, create your scene sprites. With your background in place, it's time to add your sprites. Do this. Add or create all of your sprite animations in the Animation tab. Create each sprite and assign it an animation. Set the value for any sprite properties you'd like to use, and draw all of your sprites to the screen. Okay. So let's go over to the Animations tab and find some sprites we want to use. Let's create each sprite and assign it an animation. Blah blah blah. Okay, we can do this. New animation. Let's go to. Actually, I want to try to find a cartoon. And see if I can find one without a background. So images, tools, color, transparent. Transparency is a big deal. Let's see. Perfect. It's like a Mr. Decker astronaut doing a weird, whatever, Watusi kind of dance. I don't know what to call what he's trying to do right now, but we'll roll with it. Okay. Please, please, please be less than 500 kilobytes. Right click, save image as Decker Astro. Save in my pictures drawer. Save it. Confirmation of the download. Good job, everybody. Okay, upload image. Come on, no whammies. Yes, it worked. Okay, there's one sprite. It's a me. All right, and I'm gonna rename this guy because I don't want the .png. And yeah, and classic camel case because we need camels in our lives, right, Trey? Trey, we need camels in our lives. Camels. Images. We need camels. We wanted to see camels. So here's, oh dear, I don't know what's happening right there. Let's get away from that. We wanted to see camels and we got a little more than we bargained for. Okay, let's go to characters because I want an alien in here. Perfect. Floating alien. And I just want you to be alien. All right, so we've got 2 sprites selected. Let's go back over here, and we need to get them on the screen. So we need to go to the sprite store. We need to grab variable sprite. Another thing you need to know before we move forward here is if you just call your background, it's not going to work. I repeat, if you just call it background, it's not going to work. It's going to be very upset with you. It won't like you. It's going to tell you that everything about you is wrong. So don't just name your background. Be a little more creative. Add something to it like sci-fi background or tennis court background or whatever you're doing. Okay. Variable sprite. I'm going to put the Decker astronaut up here. So I'm just going to call this Decker. And I am going to run this because I need to put it somewhere. But I also need to set the animation for that. I want to pull this back up here. Decker. Set the animation to Decker astronaut. Reset run. Whoa, I'm way too big. So let's do sprite.scale. And Decker. And we're going to do 0.2. See how big that makes me. Good. And I need to move him because it looks like bad things about to happen. Yeah, bad things. Very bad things. Okay, so I kind of want to have him over here, maybe with his foot right there, but the center of it, let's do 42x, y. Let's put him right here. X97, Y230. See what that looks like. That works. All right, and then my alien, right? We got to put him in here somewhere. So, boop, alien, and then set the animation, alien, and alien. Reset run, and he's ginormous. So we want him to be much smaller. So sprite.scale again, alien.scale gets 0.3. Oh, typing in the wrong spot. Alien 0.3. Okay, and let's put him over here. So, but he's floating, so we'll go up a little bit. 314, 188. Reset run. Bring him down a little bit. So we need to increase Y. Let's try 200. Okay. He's bigger than me. Okay, I like it. So what's next? Set the value for any sprite properties you'd like to use. Draw all of your sprites to the screen. Okay, I think we got that knocked out. So we've got our background sprite, our little Decker astronaut sprite, and our alien sprite. Finish. Continue. Create your scene text. The next piece of your scene is to add text. Add a text to your project. Use any other commands to change the appearance of your text. So let's run this and figure out where we want to put our text. And what text we want to put. We need to go to our drawing drawer. In the toolbox, let's see. Here's text. We want it to be on top of the sprites. So I'm going to put that down here. And we're going to say, Mr. Decker discovers life on a new planet. Run, it puts it way up here. I would like it to be more like right cha. So X12, Y117. Set run, then puts it right there. And it's goldenrod in color. It's the same color as my sun right now. It's really hard to read. So let's change the color of it. Fill color. And right above the text, let's make it black. And let's change the size of it. Whoops. Text size. Let's make it like 15. Yeah, that's much better. All right. Mr. Decker discovers life on a new planet. And he's super happy about it. And it's cross-eyed life, so that's always good. Is it intelligent life? We don't know. He's cross-eyed. And he's floaty. He might have a huge brain in here, though, so maybe he's super smart. And maybe he eats people. He's never seen a people before, but maybe he eats the humans. We don't know, but I'm excited about it. All right. We've got this knocked out, so let's finish. Continue. We're on bubble 7, and I bet you this is the part where we do the movement, and I was right. So create your scene, movement. The final piece of your scene is to animate your scene by adding movement. Do this. Add movement to your sprites, text, or drawn shapes. Include one type of random movement. Include one type of counter pattern movement. Alrighty, we can do that. So we need to use the draw loop. Boop. And we will need to grab draw sprites and pull that in here first. And we're going to have to do some other stuff. I'm going to get creative for a minute. Give me 1 sec here. I'm going to hit pause and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. So, all right. I did some thinking about how I want to do things. So let's, oh no. Okay, I know what I did. So my sun disappeared, my text disappeared. I've got to get everything into the draw loop. So grab all of this, Control C, backspace, down in here, on top of the draw sprites, Control V, reset, run. Now everything's back up here. I'm gonna make my text a little bit bigger. Text size 20. And I want an exclamation point because it's a big deal to find new life on a new planet, man. All right, boom. Exclamation point there. Good. Mr. Decker discovers life on a new planet. Yes, indeed. Okay, so I want this guy to move. So let's use the random pattern to make him move. So sprites. Let's see. I kind of want him to. What do I want him to do? Kind of want him to wiggle around. So sprite.x, and I'm going to put this up here. Why not? Above where I have draw sprites. And this is alien.x that we're influencing right now, matching the variable. So I want him to random. And his x position is 314. So I want him to move back and forth between 305 and 320, let's say. Let's see what happens. Okay, yeah, he's like spazzing out. He sees me and he's freaking out. I'm super excited about it because I'm discovering new life. He's not trying to discover anything. He's just trying to go get groceries or something that he's doing regularly on his daily routine on his own alien planet. I'm the imposter on this planet. So let's see. I want me to move. I want my Decker astronaut to move, and I'm going to move using the counter pattern. So let's go back to sprites drawer. And I want me to move in 2 different ways. I both want to rotate and move along X. So for X, I need to add. So because I'm moving, I want to move left to right. So we're going to add. Sprite.x +1, and then my rotation, let's see. Oh, I need to go to the math drawer, and I'm going to add to this one as well. Back to the sprites drawer, sprite.rotation, Decker.rotation +1. So he should be spinning clockwise and moving towards the alien. Very good. And I want him to spin faster than that. So let's do 3 and see what that looks like. Whoop. Good. I like it. And so I just spin right out of the scene. Perfect. Let's see. What else would I like to do? I might want to kind of wiggle my text. So let's do that. Let's wiggle the text around. And to do that, I need to set an X variable for my text. So let's throw that up here. Let's call this X text. All right. And let's have that. Let's see. I guess it might need to equal 0. Or actually, no, it's x is, what did I set its x as down here for the text? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? 12. Okay, so it's 6 equals 12. And I just want it to wiggle around slightly because I want it to still be legible, meaning it's still readable. You can still read it. How do I want to set that up down here? So I need to do this one, and where the text is, we'll say x text equals, and we need to go to math, and we're going to do random number, and we'll do it between 10 and 14 because it's, let's see if that wiggles it. Nope, it's not doing anything. What did I do wrong? Oh, I didn't connect it to the text. That's my problem. So I need to put x text right there, and that should, yeah, there we go. Now my text is wiggling around too. Awesome. So there's my animated scene. I've met the criteria for the rubric. I have a background scene. I did use only one ellipse, but my background can also be a sprite background. So it eliminates the must-have 3 ellipses and or triangles because I used a sprite background. I used at least 2 animated sprites. As you can see, I used the Mr. Decker there. Let me get back to it. Right, here's my 1 animated sprite. Here's my 2 animated sprites. Both of them are animated. I also went extra, did a little bit more because I made my text animated. And then I did my 1 text, which is right there. And I made use of the counter pattern to make my sprites move. Right, here's the counter pattern used once. Here's the counter pattern used twice. And then I used random numbers as well. Made use of the draw loop. Very good, Mr. Decker, very good. So here's your example. I'm going to finish up here, continue. And on Bubble 8, we are reviewing our scene. It says check over your animated scene at least one last time to make sure you have included everything that you want and everything that's required in the rubric. Do this. Compare the animated scene that you drew to your plan. If you made a plan, make any last minute changes, and what are you most proud of? I think I might be most proud of the fact that I found, even though I didn't make it, I found a redheaded astronaut cartoon that actually fit under that 100 kilobyte criteria. I'm also proud of my wiggly text because that was probably the most complicated code that I did, where I had to set up a new variable up here, name it, decide where it was, and then set up the variable here and attribute it to this text here. So I'm proud of what I did. I like it. I discovered life on a new planet. That's a lot to be proud of. Whether or not he's intelligent, we don't know. Whether or not he's going to chase me down and eat me, we don't know. But regardless, I am the imposter on his planet. I'm invading his space. So there you go. I'm finished. Continue. I hope that you enjoy doing your project. I'm going to give you a little extra time to complete that. How much time? Well, you're going to get a little bit of extra time. So you have some time to plan. You have some time to put together something really interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do, because I know you guys are super creative. The next lesson that we do is on conditionals, and that's a big part of what we'll be doing moving forward. So make sure you're doing what you need to do and that you understand what you're doing so far, because boy howdy, we're just moving right through this, and we're adding and learning new code all the time. I hope you're having a good time doing it.